Welcome back to another edition of Dan Frequently Asked Questions, in which we address questions of common concern to divers. And in this case, we're going to be talking about warfarin and stockings and return to diving. Keep watching. We got a question from a diver who had blood clots develop in the lower leg. They caused pulmonary emboli, and the individual was placed and is still, as far as we can understand, on warfarin and wanted to know whether they could continue diving. Well, there are a whole host of issues to consider here. First of all, why did the clots develop? Was it in response to surgery, or was it completely spontaneous? If it was as a result of surgery, then the surgery may be a contraindication and needs to be considered. If it happens spontaneously, it means that they have a clotting tendency, and then that needs to be addressed. Thirdly, if they need to wear stockings, it means that they have had a destruction of the valves of the venous system, and they now need to wear stockings or compression garments that basically fulfill the function that the one-way valves that kept the blood moving up back into the central part of the body, that those valves are no longer functional. On top of this, they are on warfarin, and warfarin is an extremely effective blood clot preventer. What it does is it inhibits the role of vitamin K and the synthesis of clotting factors in the liver. Now, vitamin K is produced by, amongst other things, the bacteria we have in our gut. And these vary depending on what we eat, whether we've had antibiotics, and a variety of other reasons. And for that reason, warfarin levels oscillate tremendously, and the dosage that would be good for 1 week might not be good for the next. Fortunately, nowadays, we have monitors that can measure the effect of the warfarin on the tendency to clot. And usually, we want the clotting time to be 2.5 to 3.5 times what would be considered normal. Within that range, it is unlikely for new clots to form. But one first needs to find out whether the clot has resolved. Secondly, one needs to know whether the lung function and general fitness is adequate to maintain at least 7 to 9 multiples of baseline metabolic rate. In other words, you need to be able to walk at 7 to 9 kilometers per hour on a treadmill, and that your warfarin levels are under control, and that whatever the thrombotic effect on the valves of the lower leg were are not so severe that you now have open wounds, which is often a consequence of chronic venous stasis. So the bottom line is you need to see your vascular surgeon, probably your pulmonologist, to determine whether your lung function is still normal, and a diving physician to see whether it is in fact wise for you to continue diving. I hope it is, and sometimes, and there certainly are divers that are diving with warfarin, but make sure you get good advice. And as I said, there are now point of care, in other words, almost like these glucose machines that diabetics carry around with them. These machines are now available to use for people who are on warfarin, and I advise you to get one of those if you haven't already. So until next time, safe diving.